This video is going to show you how to solve for the empirical formula of a compound. So this is coming from handout 7-4, Empirical Formulas and Molecular Formulas, number 6. The problem reads that I have nitrogen and oxygen are forming an extensive series of oxides with the general formula NXOY. This X and Y are going to be your subscripts of your compound. One of them is a blue solid that comes apart reversibly in the gas phase. It contains 36.84% nitrogen, and I want to know my empirical formula. So I assume with percents that all percents are out of 100. I have two elements here. I have nitrogen and I have oxygen. So if my nitrogens make up 36.84%, 100 minus my 36.84 should be my percent of oxygen. So I take my 100 minus 36.84, and that leaves me with 63.16 for my percent of oxygen. So I have 36.84% nitrogen, 63.16% oxygen. So my first step is I'm going to assume that my percents is equal to 100, and therefore I'm going to change my percents into grams and grams out of 100. So if I have 36.84 If I have 36.84% nitrogen, that's equal to 36.84 grams of nitrogen. And if I have 63.16 grams of oxygen, or percent of oxygen, I will have 63.16 grams of oxygen. So step number 2 is I want to turn my grams into moles. I look on my mole town chart, and to get from grams to moles, that's going from the top circle down to the middle circle. And we have our circles going off to the sides here and here. To get from here to here, I have to use my molar mass. The molar mass you get from the periodic table. So I need to know my molar mass of nitrogen and of oxygen. So I start by converting my nitrogen, my 36.84 grams of nitrogen. Make my chart. There's 14.01 grams of nitrogen for every 1 mole of nitrogen, and that gives me 2.63 moles of nitrogen. Oxygen, I have 63.16 grams of oxygen. For every mole of oxygen, I have 16 grams per mole, and that gives me 3.93 moles of oxygen. Next process is I take my moles and I divide by the smallest number. So my smallest number from before was 2.63, so I divide both numbers by that so I can get whole numbers, because I remember my empirical formula, I want whole number ratios. So 2.63 moles of nitrogen divided by 2.63, and then my 3.93 moles of oxygen divided by 2.63 gives me 1 and 1.5. So my next step is I need to multiply to get a whole number. So I'm going to multiply by 2 in this case, since 2 will change my 1.5 into a whole number. So times 2 gives me 3, and 1 times 2 gives me 2. So now I have N2O3. Now this is my empirical formula because neither the 2 or the 3 can be reduced. They can only be reduced with a 1, and that still leaves us with N2O3.